The only way I think you can get Jon Jones to fight and potentially be active at this point in his career, because he's not about it anymore in my opinion, at this point in his career, is give him the fights that he wants. I think the UFC know, we're not going to get the prime active Jon Jones that we once did. However, we can prolong him sticking around if we give him the fights that he wants, or the fights that we can spin a narrative in the way of saying, this is the fight everyone wants. It's a huge legacy fight. This is for the greatest heavyweight of all time. Welcome back, folks. Now, let's be 100% honest here. Everyone in the MMA community for weeks and potentially for months now has been talking about Tom Aspinall fighting Jon Jones. And I'm here to tell you today, guys, it's kind of obvious, but it's never going to happen. I was sitting this morning and I was thinking, what are things that would need to fall into place for this fight to happen, And I think the only possible way this fight would ever happen is if the UFC say to Jones, look, we have to respect the interim belt. There's no point in us having an interim belt if you're not going to fight the interim champ. And I think the Stipe fight makes absolutely zero sense. I mean, I'm not going to sound like a dickhead here, but does anyone miss Stipe? Like, I miss the... it's a Stipe fight. It's a fun fight. Everyone likes watching Stipe fight. He's a great champion. But after about 6 months after he lost to Ngannou and there was no sign of him coming back, and there hasn't been for 3.5 years, I don't care if he comes back or not, just because it's been that long. And it's kind of the same way with Conor McGregor. I'm not trying to compare the two, but right now it's like if McGregor said, guys, I'm never coming back, I think everyone would be like, at least we can stop bringing him up now. At least we can stop saying, oh, maybe December, maybe January, it's one of those things. But I would just want to say this. Here is my main point. Jon Jones has done so much in his career, but not as a heavyweight, okay? He's not. And a lot of the light heavyweights he fought were former middleweights. I think he's never fought anyone truly athletic, truly to his size. Obviously, he has great wins. I thought he lost to Dominic Reyes convincingly 3-2. And you maybe can give it 4-1. Jon Jones has I call it trick boxing, okay? He can come across like a good kickboxer, but he's not quite. He's just got the attributes, and he knows how to use them. And he's very clever with when he would throw a leg kick. He wouldn't throw a leg kick all fight, but then he rattles you a bit. You're moving. He's good. He's brilliant. He's a brilliant fighter. And I think the wins over DC were very impressive. However, there's more of an age difference between Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier than there is between him and Aspinall. So DC was old, man. DC was very old, but he was a heavyweight. They can go a bit longer. And I think DC got very unlucky fighting Stipe, because Stipe was one of those guys that was a bit more athletic for a heavyweight, slightly lighter for a heavyweight. Maybe lacking the speed a little bit, but very technical, good quality MMA boxing. I'm getting a bit off topic here. I was speaking to someone in a cafe this morning about it. Obviously, as you guys all know, I'm out in Thailand where I'm training. A lot of people watch the UFC, a lot of people like it. And this guy was saying to me, look, give me your thoughts on it. And I said, okay. And I kind of, this went through my head. The only way I think you can get Jon Jones to fight and potentially be active at this point in his career, because he's not about it anymore in my opinion, at this point in his career, is give him the fights that he wants. I think the UFC know, we're not going to get the prime active Jon Jones that we once did. However, we can prolong him sticking around if we give him the fights that he wants, or the fights that we can spin a narrative in the way of saying, this is the fight everyone wants. It's a huge legacy fight. This is for the greatest heavyweight of all time. If Jon Jones goes out there and beats Stipe Miocic, I guarantee you he'll take 6 months and then say, look, guys, my body's not the same, I'm not coming back. There's not a chance the guy will retire in the cage, because, first of all, he probably is going to leave and sit back and figure out his options and give it 6 months. He'll have the belt another 6 months, he's defended the heavyweight belt, or he's the man. Guys, my body can't do this anymore, it's been a good one. I really wanted to fight Aspinall, And this is so unfair on Aspinall. First of all, Aspinall's 31. I believe he's 31. You don't want him to be sitting around in the prime of his career, because as we found out recently, and everyone loses. I mean, you can say Khabib, you can say this and that. Khabib would have lost. Khabib absolutely would have lost. everyone loses in this sport at some point. There's guys like Dricus du Plessis, right, who are just winners. They are just winners. Kamaru Usman, I'd even say, is just a winner. But then they get found out. Same with Izzy. You give everyone a chance to watch and study what they're doing. Eventually you'll lose. And Jon Jones has lost. However, it didn't go Dominic Reyes' way. You know, can you imagine Tom Aspinall fighting Anthony Smith? And I know it's a different weight class, but Aspinall's average fight time is going down, and it's like 2 minutes 20 seconds right now. You know, Aspinall has beaten 6 people in the top 10 all inside 1 round, with a combined time of 4 minutes. Or no, 6 minutes. And 6 minutes. I can't remember the stat. Doesn't matter though. We've never seen Jon Jones blow anyone out of the water, and all these Jon Jones fans will say, "Oh, but Cyril Gane." Do you remember when Jon Jones fought Cyril Gane in December on 4 or 5 weeks' notice against a pure striker? Cyril Gane has no grappling, and Cyril Gane went tooth and nail with Tai Tuivasa, which is a terrible win that's aged really badly. I want to say this: when Cyril Gane tapped and Jon Jones submitted him, everyone was like, "Oh, he tapped, whoa, oh, he's tapping. The commentary as well were like, wow." And the only way you can justify it in your head is, "Oh, this guy's the best ever, he made him tap." No. They were so surprised he tapped because he literally put himself and he just sat in that position and just let Jones choke him. There was no defensive awareness there, right? Which is not what you'd expect from a high-level MMA grappler or a high-level mixed martial artist. And I think Jones in that fight, I mean, on the feet he looked absolutely terrible. But Cyril Gane is phenomenal. He has that little bounce, he has the jab, then he'll step in with a 2, you know? And he's fast, and he's light on his feet. He's not got that bap. He doesn't flatline people, you know? He reminds me a little bit in the way he finishes people, right? Who does he remind me of? Let me just sit back. A bit like Alex Pereira, actually. The way he would catch you, and then maybe one big left hook, then an uppercut, and then, you know, a body. He doesn't flatline you. He just drops you, and then you're scrambling, and then he breaks you down with power and speed. He's phenomenal. Cyril Gane is phenomenal. However, the guy with a very close fight with Tuivasa, and Tuivasa is not a high-level heavyweight, as we've seen. You know, he's got a big right hand, but he's not high-level. However, and look, I really think my prediction would be Aspinall blows Jones out the water in the first round, you know, and Jones has never once said he'll fight Aspinall. I don't think Jones will retire in the cage. I think he'll walk out, give it 6 months, and put up an Instagram post or a YouTube post or just like a formal thing saying, "Guys, thank you, but my body can't do it anymore," or "I don't need this anymore. I've been doing it since I was 21. I've been a champion since I was 20." You know, so first of all, he's multiple failed drug tests, so much controversy, beating his wife, everything, you know. I think the way you get this fight going is I know Tom Aspinall would never do this. The way you get this fight going is if you sit back and you say, he's not a real man. The only fights he gets in are with his wife. You know, the only people who, you know, it's easy to put hands on your wife, but try to do the same to me. Really build the fight, as in make it bad blood, bad intentions. Rip him to pieces for everything. Call him gay. Call him just break the man down to where it's the $1 billion fight. That is the only way you'll get him to step in there with you. If the money is undeniable and he's going to get $20 million for it. You know, Aspinall fights it on his contract. Jones gets pay-per-view points and gets $20 million, $30 million for it. And even in Aspinall's core, if that's not what he's about, I think that's the only chance in hell he's got of getting this fight. Because you know Stipe's going to get it. You know Stipe's going to get the fight. I don't know why. I know Tom's going to be the backup, but I guarantee you if Stipe pulls out, there's not a chance in fuck Jon Jones fights Tom Aspinall. And he will happily just demolish that event. you know. If it's November in MSG, they'll have a pretty solid co-main event, I'd imagine. You know, I'd really like it to be the middleweight belt on the line, Dricus and Sean in November, or Bilal potentially. But I mean, imagine a Bilal Muhammad Madison Square Garden main event. You know, that would be terrible for the company. But that's all I'm saying. That is how that's the only way Tom Aspinall will get a Jones fight. That's appalling. It is absolutely appalling. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching the video. Give me your thoughts. The only way Jon Jones is going to stick around and be active is if the UFC gives him fights that are handy for him. It's the fights that Jon Jones wants, and the UFC know that. I understand why they're doing it. You want your biggest and baddest there, but Jones's light heavyweight career is very flawed as well. You know, a few very controversial losses, loads of drug tests failed, and a lot of them came up from middleweight. Not all of them were pure light heavyweights, like a Jan Blachowicz, who barely makes 205. Alex Pereira, who also came up from middleweight, but he's a light heavyweight, guys. Jones would have lost to both of them. He would not have been able to get Blachowicz down. I know Glover did, but I think Jan's night that night was a very bad night. That was a very bad night, you know. What do you guys think? Like, comment, subscribe. More videos coming this week.